Hi, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the online future session with myself, Charles Coughlin. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to see you. Good afternoon, rather. Good afternoon, Adair, Najam. Good to see you, folks. Brett, welcome. All right, Brett, just gonna give folks 30 seconds or so to sign on in, then we'll get stuck in. Hey, Ryan. Okay. Yeah, hey, Najam. All right, folks, without further ado, let's get stuck into the session. So, in terms of data that we have had some weak employment data out of the UK, but it was offset by some of the stronger revisions. So you can see average earnings are still high. They're well above the Fed's 2%, the Bank of England's 2% target. Employment change, strong move higher above market's maximum expectations. Now, unemployment has ticked up towards the high end of expectations. This is not anything to change the Bank of England's mind. The Bank of England's Bailey has recently said that if there's a sharp weakening in the labour market, that could result in more aggressive rate cuts. Yes, that's a little bit of weakness, but it's nothing to really change the Bank of England's mind. So, important data point that we had out, but that gives us a pass for now. Market's just wanting an excuse to sell the pounds. This is not it. Looking at the latest jobless data, excellent for the US again. Initial jobless claims towards the low end of expectations, continuous jobless claims towards the low end of expectations, prior revised lower. This was revised higher, but fractionally. So strong US data. And that's like a story that we're seeing at the moment, that the US economy is doing well relative to other nations. And you can see that's underpinning dollar strength. And that gives us a dollar yen buy bias intraday. That dollar yen buy bias is still there. Any dips in the dollar yen can be bought. And if you look at the E-mini, you can see moved up very nicely on that weak jobs data. Looking on the 15-minute chart, you can see, look, just bounced off that developed value area high here. Right? Prices moved back, and then we've had sellers here getting trapped. Then on the tick chart, I wasn't around for this unfortunately, but you can see on the tick chart price moved up, and then sellers getting trapped here against the VWAP, and then prices just moved up. Sellers here getting trapped, price moved up. Sellers here getting trapped, price moved up, right? And sellers getting trapped here, price keeps moving up. So we're having a nice strong move higher in the E-mini. Looking around general headlines, US President Trump is saying that there's a deal with India about to be announced, possibly one with Europe, but Canada's some way off. Euro stocks, another hammer reversal down here, and a bullish piercing line pattern in the DAX. Notice this. So you see price opened lower, moved lower. The bears thought they were taking new levels and then closed above these highs. So this now becomes support. A strong support now in the DAX in a very similar way to that bullish piercing line pattern we saw here in the S&P 500. That was support. And we had those headlines yesterday. Don't know if you're around to catch any of them, with US President Trump saying that Powell was going to be sacked, and then no, it's fake news. So we had up down in the S&P 500. I wonder if Trump was just testing the market a little bit there with those reports, seeing how the market responded to the prospect of sacking Powell. And I wonder if stock markets had rallied. I wonder if the stock market rallied higher, whether Powell would have got fired. Difficult to know, isn't it? Yeah. A classic from Najam here. Good man, Najam. Yeah, Trump announced Powell, and then I was surprised when he was appointed. Well, that could be the blessing of a short-term memory, right? Good one, Najam. So, but if you look at the big picture of the US, just keep in mind what's going on, right? Here we go. Look at this labor market in the US. It's fantastic. Really doing well. You look at the non-farm payroll print. Where is it? Let me find it. US economy still adding jobs. And look at the unemployment rate as well. Where is it? Unemployment. There. Fed saw it at 4.4% this year. It's 4.1%. There's nothing wrong with the US labor market as it stands. The only thing we did see was that weakness in private employment data, which is here. Here it is right at the top. So it is a weakening in the private sector, but that wasn't layoffs. That's just not replacing people that are going. So the private sector saying they don't feel confident enough to hire folks, and there's a lot of uncertainty, which kind of makes sense with the tariffs anyway. And if you look at JOLTS job openings, where's the job? Quits, job openings. They're still fine, right? So that US labor market is just helping to support the dollar higher at the moment, and it's supporting the stock market. So that's the kind of big picture. Now, in terms of looking around market, equity markets picking up, but they've been mixed in the session. We've got the geopolitical risk. Bonds are finding some buyers, and that's showing a little bit of risk off sentiment. Gold dropping off its lows. Silver finding a little bit of a dip. Copper trying to break out there of that sort of flag pattern. Iron ore pushing higher. Brent crude WTI, they took a spike higher on some drone report in a field of Kurdistan, in Iraq's oil field. I can't remember the name of it. But that impacted sentiment for oil, but that's nothing to chase at all. So commodities are slightly weaker, and you've got the dollar stronger, but mild, moderate moves. You still expect dollar yen dip buying as things currently stand in the session. Euro dollar being pushed and pulled around by the latest dollar narrative. Now, in terms of any sort of things I'm looking at, I am keeping an eye on this trend line here for silver, looking to get back into silver further longs, because either this 37 region here is a major area. So watch for buyers around this area here. Expect buyers there, and also keep an eye out for this trend line being broken here. Now, is that a head and shoulders pattern forming? You possibly got a left shoulder, head, possible right shoulder. The trigger will be the entry of this trend line being broken at the 37.90, 38 region. So we'll see. But silver I do like. Looking at the Aussie New Zealand dollar, there is a upward bias there. Now, just structurally, yes, we had some weak jobs data out of Australia last night, but structurally the Aussie New Zealand dollar can still gain. The Aussie should still gain against the New Zealand dollar. So this is a nice area for potential buying in this region here. So just watch out for potential dip buyers around here, and look for any, either trend reversals or trend line breaks, something like that on the Aussie New Zealand dollar. That's not too unreasonable. Deeper pullbacks preferable. So that's what I'm looking at intraday in terms of currency markets. The calendar for the rest of the session, if we just take a look there, you can see you've got Kugler speaking at 3, and you've got Cook at 6:30, and you've got Waller speaking at 11:30. Just check there's no one else on the other calendar. I think that is the lot for today. Yeah, that's it. At 5:45, not here. So daily's coming in at 5:45, but that's after our session. So in the E-mini, positive start. So looking at the hourly chart, we had that nice recovery from yesterday. Big rejection on the hourly chart. We just pushed up. We are now in a developed value area high, pushing above the developed value area high and pushing into the developing value area high. So for that, what you're looking for is a pull back into this area, and looking here, you've got some sellers trapped there. So a pullback into this region, the 6309. And you can see we've pushed through the 6300. So 6309 is suitable for buying on the weekly chart. And that means, like any retracement back down here, we could look for potential buyers. I think the best lot, the deepest kind of retracement will be down this region here. So I think you could happily buy in here at the open from the 6307. So anywhere around that area, I'm just happy to leave that order in. Stops the other side of the structure. Inventory is positive, and you can see that we've got some key sort of developed value areas we're moving into. Push above them, and then we can start looking for these highs. At the moment, we're just kind of sandwiched between them. So any retracement back to that value area high here, that would be ideal. So anything around that 6305 region. Got some sellers coming in before the open. A nice one there, Jam. Okay, so dollar yen. Now Jam's pointing out implied volatility level at the 14886. So that's the upper bound, 886. So just watch out for this region. It's a standard deviation high volatility level there.
It says appropriate to keep policy rate of interest steady for some time, given low unemployment and building price pressure from tariffs. It says inflation remains above the 2% target, labour market stable and resilient. A restrictive policy stance is important right now to keep inflation expectations anchored. Kugler says the estimate of June PC inflation is 2.5% versus the 2% target, core at 2.8%, both higher than in May. Kugler says CPI shows inflation broadening across core goods. Says there's many reasons to think the larger impact of tariffs on inflation is still to come.
So that's Kugler saying he's still believing in inflation coming. Right. So that's a decent area for buying down there. If you get down there, watch for buyers. Watch out for that price being capped.
So just seeing an early text release there from Fez Kugler, just summarising, is in the wait and see approach, says appropriate to keep policy rate of interest steady for some time, given the low unemployment and building price pressure from tariffs, saying there's many reasons to think a larger impact of tariffs on inflation is still to come.
On the time price opportunity, you see prices trying to break up above the value area high from the Globex open, and we're opening as it stands above yesterday's value area high. So price is trying to track higher. Any retracements back down to this region here, you're looking for buyers as we head into the open. All right, folks. Okay. Yeah, we're looking at a buy bias. So pull back into here before the open. That's the opportunity I'm looking for. So what I'm looking for as we come to the open would be a slightly deeper pullback because we've moved already down there. You'd just be hitting that view up. Maybe the best of all entries would be sort of down here a bit further. I think I'll take a VWAP potential entry there, or maybe back down to that 6300. So I think something off the 6300 would be nice. Make sure the squawk's on. So you can see a bit of selling coming in. Then see these buyers are still here. So then what we're looking for on the tick chart. So I'm looking to go long from anywhere around here. So I'll be just going down to the tick chart to see if and when I get sellers trapped. So that's the plan. So this kind of region that says, here's the buyers. So delta positive, pulling back, buying from the VWAP at the open. Got 2 minutes. Here we are coming into the open now. 1 minute. I'm going to be looking at the tick chart and going long when I see some sellers getting trapped. That would be the trigger. We know that this is an area to look for longs. So looking for a little bit of a confirmation on the tick chart, right? Here we go. And we got to the open. 15 seconds. Okay, coming into the open now. We're in. All right. Just looking for any sellers to get trapped when we're going long. Okay, that's it. I'm going long with some sellers trapped there. And they're just trapped against that VWAP. Enter a second one if I get pulled down. Okay, close that second position out. Now you can see we're moving higher. And then let's just see where we go from here. Keep the stop nice and tight underneath that VWAP, but let's see. Right. If I get them trapped again, I can get another long in. Right, here we go. Right, another long because I got these sellers trapped here. Right. Right, I can just trail this up now. And just trailing it, see if I get anything more out of it. Okay, another set of sellers trapped. I'm going to take that off. Just starting to weaken, so I've taken both of those off. Just see it weakening there. Right, now let's look carefully. The Nasdaq's falling down quite sharply now. You just see that in the Nasdaq. It's dropping down underneath that area, trapping those buyers. So I've got a bit of negative sentiment coming in. You just see it coming in. Structurally, still happy to look for buyers in this area.